Hello, and welcome to Talk to the Fish, the only show where we make diving better instead of wetter. We have a fascinating question from the viewer, Tank Toter. What's the deal with air transmitters? Are they just fancy tank bangers or actually worth the investment?
Actually, Jack, air transmitters have revolutionized dive safety in recent years.
So, what's the magic trick with this snazzy underwater gizmo?
Let me start with what an air-integrated dive computer actually is. It uses a small transmitter that screws into one of the high-pressure ports on your regulator's first stage.
That sounds terrifically simple. So you're saying we can finally ditch those cumbersome hoses that always seem to tangle around my beautiful fins?
I recommend to keep a traditional SPG for redundancy, Jack, but you can remove it indeed. Now the way it works is straightforward. The transmitter functions as a tiny radio station on your tank, sending signals about your air level to your wrist computer or mask display.
Reminds me of how modern cars show tyre pressure right on the dashboard, instead of making you check each tyre manually with a separate gauge.
Spot on, Jack. No more spinning around mid-dive.
Wait, does that mean I can finally stop doing my underwater pirouettes? My fans will be so disappointed. So what makes these gizmos so special?
The magic happens when your tank pressure shows up directly next to your depth, dive time, and no decompression limit, all on one screen.
Oh, that's brilliant. So it's
Everything in one place.
exactly what I need. My tiny fish brain can only track so many things. It's just as game-changing as having speed, fuel, and GPS all on a single car dashboard. Remember when we had to read maps, Regis?
Aha! And there's more. These systems don't just show your air, they predict how long it'll last based on how you're breathing.
You mean they can tell when I'm panicking around barracudas?
Every anxious breath gets calculated.
That's just my car's miles to empty, but for my lungs, no more guessing when to head back. Though maybe you don't worry about air, with those gills and all.
Some of us evolved properly, Jack.
Tell us more about these magical contraptions. What other joys do they bring to the underwater world?
Ever noticed how divers with traditional gauges look part octopus with all those hoses?
Do I? Those hoses have smacked me more times than your cousins have tried to eat me.
Well, air transmitters eliminate that stress. No dangling SPG hose means your setup feels cleaner and less cluttered.
Freedom from the tyranny of tubes.
And in murky waters or strong currents,
It's useful, of course, when you can barely see your fins, much less some gauge flapping around.
just glance at your wrist.
That's the difference between trying to read a massive fold-out map while driving versus glancing at a clear GPS. One leads to crashes, the other to your destination. What else?
These smart little devices record everything.
They're spying on us?
They track your air consumption throughout every dive and download it all to apps.
Aha! So it's tattling on how much I panic breathe around eels.
It helps analyze your dives to improve air consumption over time.
Just my luck. A fitness tracker for my gills. Next you'll tell me it counts my fin steps too.
Maybe in the next version.
So what's the verdict? Are these transmitters just fancy toys for divers with too many clams to spend?
That's the million-dollar question.
Which I can't afford because I spent it all on dive gadgets.
By definition, yes, it's a gadget. Divers manage perfectly fine with traditional SPGs for decades.
Sure, and fish managed fine without Instagram, but here we are.
But is it worth the investment for many divers today?
Don't keep us in suspense.
It's a resounding yes. The reliability and convenience of having air information right there with all your other dive data makes it a powerful safety tool.
Hold your seahorses. Are you saying experienced divers trust these wireless wonders as their primary air monitors?
Many do, though most still carry a simple backup SPG.
Because redundancy is to diving what teeth are to sharks. Essential and numerous.
Couldn't have said it better. But their primary monitoring happens wirelessly now.
So it's not just a shiny toy then?
Not at all. It's technology that simplifies monitoring, provides richer data for better decisions, and adds a significant layer of safety and comfort.
These aren't just fancy gadgets. They're the future of safe diving. Before we go, Regis, any final thoughts for our viewers on today's topic? A short takeaway, perhaps? No need for grand revelations. We're fish, not philosophers.
Remember this, the best diving equipment is whatever helps you focus less on your gear and more on the beauty around you. Air transmitters do exactly that.
Brilliantly put. Huge thanks to our guest Regis for not eating any of our audience members today. A new record for the show. That's all for today, fellow bubble makers. Tune in next week when we discuss those poor fish with GPS trackers attached to them by marine biologists. Those creatures swimming around pretending they weren't too embarrassed to ask for directions. Until then, keep your transmitters charged and your fins moving. And remember, watch your pressure gauges so I don't have to watch your obituary. Swim away safely, and we'll see you next week.
Forget all the troubles and blues. Dive into the blue. Oh yes, talk to the fish.